Sweet.
Well, good morning. I will now call to order the June 5th, 2025 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners Business Meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chair. First, our staff support today, County Counsel Jane Veto, Clerk to the Board Andrew Jiraki. Commissioner West is out of the office today. Roll call, Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner Helm.
Here.
Commissioner Savas.
Present.
Chair Roberts.
Here. Thank you, Gary. Will you now please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, everyone? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right, thank you. And Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, Chair, before we proceed, I'd like to make a motion to add a board discussion item on our agenda today. I would move to add state transportation legislation as a board discussion item to the meeting agenda. It would follow the consent agenda.
All right.
I'll second that.
All right, Commissioner Savas has moved to add transportation legislation discussion as a board discussion item to the agenda. Commissioner Helm has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We will now add this item to the agenda to follow the Water Environmental Services consent agenda and before the administrator's update. So let's continue with our scheduled agenda. First up is public communication. Testimony is limited to 3 minutes, and I ask that comments be respectful and courteous. As a reminder, you can also email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as a part of our public record. I will now open the meeting for public testimony. I'll take in-person testimony first, and I will ask our wonderful clerk if he would please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony for us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have received no blue cards. If you are attending this meeting in person and wish to speak during public communication, this is your final opportunity to please fill out a blue card, which can be found on the table by the center doors and deposit in the box. Mr. Chair, I see no one attending in person today who wishes to testify, so with your assent, I'll then move forward to virtual testimony. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would like to speak during public communication, this is your opportunity to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Poole, I'll allow you to speak. Please unmute yourself. You'll have 3 minutes. Mr. Poole, we're unable to hear you if you are speaking right now. Could you please unmute?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. Zoom is great, but it's not perfect. I'm calling regarding several issues that are all related to the economy. Right now in Salem, there's so many taxes and so many fee increases that I've lost count. And of course, as Salem or the legislature imposes more costs on the public, it makes it harder and harder to make ends meet. And we don't hear this, but it is driving homelessness, my friends. It is driving homelessness. And the county is in a really awkward position because you're doing a good job of dealing with homelessness, but we're right next to Portland where their programs and investments and actions have been mostly failures. And so we're dealing with more and more folks that are at risk. And I think we all know that when you're homeless and distraught, it's easier to go pick up a beer or start drinking or doing drugs. So we know it's all intertied. Speaking of Salem, great to hear that Commissioner Savas and that all of you will be discussing ODOT's budget, their proposals Don't have time to get into that right now, but a public discussion on that would be great in the future. I'll conclude with a request I've made, I believe 3 times in recent meetings, and that is that more information be available and more outreach occur regarding the conversion of the former Clackamas Elementary School into a recovery center or a recovery campus. I'm getting a lot of phone calls from a lot of concerned folks, and I want to be very clear. The message from the neighborhood is they don't know what's really going on. They know there will be some impacts. They've already been through a very bad experience with the Project Turnkey fiasco at the Clackamas Inn. And I'm here to tell you that the folks don't oppose the facility, but they want to have a seat at the table. And the feeling out there is they're really not getting it. So we need to have some type of public discussion or more knowledge about what's happening there and what will be done to just ensure the integrity of the neighborhood. And again, no one is opposing it, but folks are in the dark. Thank you very much, as always.
Thank you. Gary.
Oh, I'm sorry. After public comment, I'd like to respond to Mr. Poole's feedback.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If there is anyone else attending virtually who'd like to comment during public communication, this is your final opportunity to please raise your hand, and if you have not yet spoken, I will call on you. Mr. Chair, I see no other members of the public, either in person or virtual, who wish to comment today.
All right, thank you. I will now close the general public communication portion, and before we move on, I wanted to turn to County Administrator Gary Schmidt. Gary?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Mr. Poole, for your feedback, which you sent to me directly, and I've emailed you a response, and I want to share that publicly. We do have a website, which, granted, is not the only way to communicate, but it is one of the best ways we share information. Andrew's going to share that on the screen for you right now about our recovery campus, the location, frequently asked questions, several videos of what we're planning on doing with this site, as well as we have a good neighbor committee of neighbors to this site, and we've been interacting with them to get their feedback and hear their concerns. And you have a monthly update right here at Issues or Policy Session. So greatly appreciate Mr. Poole's feedback. We are already doing many of the things he has asked us to do. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Gary. Excuse me, I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the Housing Authority Board. Gary, what is next?
Thank you, Chair. Next is the Housing Authority of Clackamas County consent agenda. Joining you online is Housing Resident Commissioner Ann Leenstra. We'll wait just a moment, please, for her to join. And Commissioner Leenstra, if you could unmute and say hello, please. One moment, please. Commissioner Leenstra, are you there?
Commissioner Leenstra, you are still currently muted.
All right, she's here. There she is. All right, well, certainly you're still muted, but for the vote, we'll have her speak. So she is here. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Housing Authority Consent Agenda. Item 2A, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with the Mental Health and Addiction Association of Oregon to provide peer support services to eligible Housing Authority Program participants at Hillside Manor. Amendment value is $120,000 for 1 year. Total contract value is $337,318.92 for 3 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services measure. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Clackamas County for the payment in lieu of taxes distribution method to local tax districts applicable to the Malala Apartments Limited Partnership. Agreement value is $425,000 for 17 years. Funding is through payments in lieu of taxes by Malala Apartments. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Housing Authority consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, anyone wish to remove or added anything to the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Chair, I move we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, Commissioner Savis has moved to approve the Housing Authority consent agenda. Commissioner Schrader has seconded that. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Leenstra.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. And thank you, Commissioner Leenstra. I will now recess as the Housing Authority Board and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary, what is up?
Thank you, Chair. Next is a public hearing, item 1, proposal number 2025-003, annexation to Clackamas County Service District Number 1 of territory located at 17100 Southeast Hagen Road in Happy Valley for sanitary sewer and surface water management services. Jeff Munns, Assistant County Counsel, will present. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Chair, we have a proposed annexation to West before you today for Clackamas County Service District Number 1. This is a single-family residence, 0.4 of an acre. They are seeking to be connected to West to receive sewer services. This process is subject to state law, Metro Code, as well as being consistent with our comprehensive plan. And since the property is inside the city of Happy Valley, they have, by resolution, endorsed the annexation, as has the district. So given the criteria that you must follow, it's consistent with the land use requirements as well as the process that's required to go through for an annexation. And so with that, there's also no cost to the county for this boundary change, and staff recommendation is to approve the annexation.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Munns. So at this point, I will open the public hearing on this item. So Clerk, would you please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If you are attending this meeting in person and would like to comment on this specific matter and this specific matter only, I'll now ask you to please fill out a blue card with all due haste and deposit in the box by the door. Mr. Chair, seeing no members of the public who wish to speak in person, with your assent, I'll now move to online testimony. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would like to speak on this specific matter, I'll now ask you to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. This is a final call. If you're attending this meeting virtually and would like to comment on this specific matter, to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see no other members of the public, either in person or virtual, who wish to speak on this specific matter today.
All right, thank you. I will now close the public hearing portion of this item. So look to my colleagues, is there any other discussion you'd like to have about this? All right, seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
I move we approve annexation proposal number 2025-003.
I'll second that.
All right, Commissioner Savis has moved to approve the annexation proposal number 2025-003. Commissioner Helm has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savis.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Gary, what is next?
Thank you. Next is the Clackamas County consent. Whoops, sorry. Next is the Clackamas County consent agenda. It is a long one. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Clackamas County consent agenda. Item A, elected officials. 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. 2, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Molalla for retail crime investigations. Agreement value is $7,500 for 1 year. Funding is through the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Oregon City for retail crime investigations. Agreement value is $25,000 for 1 year. Funding is through the Oregon Criminal Justice Commission. No county general funds are involved. B, county administration. 1, Approval of a social games license for Estacada Moose Lodge number 333. License value is $25 for 1 year. Funding is through the applicant. No county general funds are involved. C, County Council. 1. Approval of a pre-litigation settlement agreement with Moonlight BPO. Value of settlement is $200,000. Funding is through Moonlight BPO. No county general funds are involved. D, Finance. 1. Approval of an amendment to a public improvement contract with Johnson Controls for replacement of a cooling system at the Clackamas County Development Services Building. Amendment value is $17,581.71 for 1 month. Total contract value is $158,938.48 for 1 year. Funding is through the Capital Improvement Fund, which does include budgeted county general funds. E, Transportation and Development. 1. Approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Consumer and Business Services for updates to the on-call permitting and inspection services arrangement. Amendment value is $430,000. Total agreement value is $480,000 for 5 years. Funding is through permitting revenues. No county general funds are involved. 2. Approval of a personal services contract with Consor North America for the Sunnyside Road and 142nd Pavement Overlay and Americans with Disabilities Act ramp project. Contract value is $2,055,926 for 30 months. Funding is through the County Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. 3. Approval of an amendment to a contract with Consor North America for the Knightsbridge Road Malala River Bridge Rehab Project. Amendment value is $496,360 for 1 year. Total contract value is $1,028,268.83 for 5 years. Funding is through state-funded local project program funds and the County Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. 4. Approval of an amendment to a contract with PNC Construction for Concord Community Center tenant improvement renovations and various Concord Park playground design changes. Amendment value is $1,032,416 for 4 months. Total agreement value is $37,776,957.43 for 4 years. Funding is through budgeted system development charges. No county general funds are involved. F, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1. Approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Clackamas Women's Services for rapid rehousing services. Amendment value is $700,000 for 6 months. Total contract value is $16,756,849.63 for 3 years. Funding is through a Senate Bill 5511 grant. No county general funds are involved. 2. Approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Sunstone Way for shelter operations and case management services at Clackamas Village. Amendment value is $1,499,586.59 for 1 year. Total contract value is $3,069,173.95 for 18 months. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 3. Approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Up and Over for homeless outreach and supportive housing case management services. Amendment value is $812,549.75 for 1 year. Total contract value is $2,775,742.49 for 4 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 4. Approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Just Compassion of East Washington County for supportive housing case management services at Clackamas Apartments. Amendment value is $371,421.25 for 1 year. Total contract value is $742,842.50 for 18 months. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 5. Approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with the Immigrant and Refugee Community Organization for homeless outreach and supportive housing case management services. Amendment value is $572,028.48 for 1 year. Total contract value is $2,426,565.41 for 4 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with Catholic Charities for housing case managers and other support staff at Good Shepherd Village. Amendment value is $1,095,165.51 for 1 year. Total contract value is $3,253,599.55 for 3 years. Funding is through support of Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Multnomah County for child, adolescent, and adult psychiatric consultations and clinical guidance services. Agreement value is $10,000 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority and Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. 8, approval of a local subrecipient grant agreement with Native American Youth and Family Center for partnership to reduce substance use and overdose disparities. Agreement value is $25,000 for 1 year. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 9, approval of an amendment to a revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation to purchase and install additional detachable ski boxes for the Mount Hood Express. There is no cost associated with this amendment. Agreement value is $32,016 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Transportation. No county general funds are involved. 10, approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Transportation to reallocate funding for transportation planning and operations of the Mount Hood Express. There is no cost associated with this amendment. Agreement value is $1,182,240 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Transportation. No county general funds are involved. 11, approval of an amendment to a revenue intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Health Authority for Public Health Services. Amendment value is $28,000 for 2 months. Total agreement value is $12,472,877.33 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 12, approval of an amendment to a federal subrecipient grant agreement with Parrot Creek Child and Family Services for alcohol and drug housing services. Amendment value is $65,550 for 4 months. Total agreement value is increased to $514,183.90 for 18 months. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 13, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon City School District Number 62 to provide a certified prevention specialist for the Youth Substance Use Prevention Program. Agreement value is $12,000 for 4 years. Funding is through Oregon City School District Number 62. No county general funds are involved. 14, approval of a personal services contract with El Programa Hispano Católico for resource navigation and supportive housing case management services. Contract value is $1,003,470 for 1 year. Funding is through supportive housing service measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 15, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with the Native American Youth and Family Center for Emergency Homeless Family Shelter Services. Amendment value is $1,859,843.46 for 12 months. Total contract value is $5,761,438.30 for 30 months. Funding is through supportive housing service measure funds. No county general funds are involved. 16, approval of an amendment to an intergovernmental agreement with UpToDate for renewal of medical literature subscriptions. Amendment value is $14,597.02 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $41,483.02 for 3 years. Funding is through health center charges for services. No county general funds are involved. 17, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the Housing Authority of Clackamas County for payment in lieu of taxes distribution method to local tax districts applicable to the Malala Apartments Limited Partnership. Agreement value is $425,000 for 17 years. Funding is through payments in lieu of taxes by Malala Apartments. 18, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Canby to provide library programming, sanctioned camping facility security, and homeless outreach services. Agreement value is $516,707 for 3 years. Funding is through Oregon House Bill 5202 funds and $202,507 in budgeted county general funds. 19, Approval of an amendment to a property lease agreement with North Clackamas School District Number 12 for temporary premises use for women, infants, and children nutrition services. Amendment value is $5,613.78 for 6 months. Total contract value is $43,316.94 for 5 years. Funding is through the Oregon Health Authority. No county general funds are involved. 20, approval of a grant intergovernmental agreement with the Oregon Department of Human Services for funding of services to intellectually and developmentally disabled children and adults. Agreement value is $30,346,566 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Human Services. No county general funds are involved. 21, approval of an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District for non-medical transportation and meal services at the Milwaukee Community Center. Amendment value is $40,622 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $957,262 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Human Services and the Older Americans Act. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Right. Do any of my colleagues wish to remove any item from the consent agenda?
Andrew, could you repeat that? Just joking.
With that being said, I think I would ask for a motion.
Move to approve the consent agenda?
I'll second it.
Right. Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the consent agenda. Commissioner Helm has seconded that. And any further discussion? I see Commissioner Helm.
Just a couple questions, and I realize that I'm coming late to the game in this, but back on item D, under finance, number 1, on the public improvement contract with Johnson Controls, how often do we go out for RFPs on this?
And I'll turn to Gary for a response on that.
It depends on the contract. They're either, typically at the county, it's between 3 and 5 years. Some of these larger contracts with contractors are maybe sometimes 10 years. I don't know what the value of this contract is, but Johnson Controls has provided service to this county for probably 25 years. So they're kind of our go-to contractor.
The only
for this.
reason I bring it up is in my personal experience, that when you use the same contractor over and over and over, they can kind of charge whatever they want. And I found it in something that I was having done at my house, and I went back out, somebody I've been using for 20 years, went out for bid, it was half the price. So I'm just saying that I think maybe it should be looked at a little more often. I don't know when it was looked at last, but people get very comfortable writing checks, and the contractors get very comfortable billing. So just, that's what, number 1. Number 2, oh, that's not under another item, never mind.
Thank you for the feedback. We will absolutely do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Any other comments? I want to follow up with what Commissioner Savas had to say, and I would just want to say, we are very lucky to have our clerk, Andrew, and you didn't stumble once. I was trying to see if you were going to do one stumble, and you never failed. So anyway, I want to thank you for what a good job you do. So with that being said, Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Of course, Chair. Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Helm.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. I will now recess as the Board of County Commissioners and convene as the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District Board of Directors. So Gary, what is next?
Thank you, Chair. This is the consent agenda for the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of an amendment to a subrecipient grant agreement with Clackamas County Health, Housing, and Human Services for non-medical transportation and meal services at the Milwaukee Community Center. Amendment value is $40,622 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $957,262 for 2 years. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Human Services and the Older Americans Act. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of a board order authorizing application to allocate Metro local share bond funds for park improvements at the Jennings Lodge campus. Application value is $808,386. Funding is through Metro. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District consent agenda.
All right, thank you. Colleagues, or directors now, do you wish to remove or add any item to the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the NCPRD consent agenda.
Second.
Right. Director Savas has moved to approve the North Clackamas Parks Recreational District consent agenda. Director Schrader has seconded that. And any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Director Helm,
Aye.
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Aye.
motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will now adjourn as the North Clackamas Parks and Rec District Board of Directors and convene as a Development Agency Board. Gary?
Next is the consent agenda for the Development Agency of Clackamas County. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Development Agency Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of an owner participation development agreement with Greenlight for public infrastructure improvements to support new housing construction and the development of a new park located on Southeast Monroe Street. Agreement value is $725,000 for 5 years. Funding is through Development Agency Urban Renewal Funds. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of a disposition agreement with H.V. Otte for the sale of Development Agency property located at 855 Southeast Otte Road. Agreement value is $3 million. Funding is through H.V. Otte. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Development Agency consent agenda.
And thank you. So any of my colleagues wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? All right, may I have a motion?
I move we approve the Development Agency consent agenda. I believe Commissioner Helm has her light on for a comment.
Yes, I noticed that. Thank you.
That's fine. We can do that after
How about
the second. We can.
Yeah, well,
I'll second it so
Okay.
we can discuss
Yeah,
things.
there we go.
All right, so Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the Development Agency consent agenda. Commissioner Helm has seconded that. And we have further discussion. Commissioner Helm?
Just a quick question. How much did we pay? When did we purchase this property on Otte Road and how much did we pay?
All right, the Director of Transportation happens to be in the room. Respectfully, Commissioners, please tell me a day in advance so I can plan this, but he just happens to be here anyway, so Dan, please come forward.
Because he'll have the answer off the top of his head.
He will. He's very,
I know
very
you
good.
do.
Good morning, Dan Johnson, Director of Transportation Development and the Development Agency. If I recall correctly, it was a willing seller, willing buyer purchase probably around 2010, give or take. And it was a part of a Miles Fiberglass relocation. They were looking for a site to relocate, and it was an investment property that they were interested in liquidating to us for future development. At the time, I don't want to be quoted, but I'm going to say it was around $2 million, give or take. There was development agency funding separate from the county, and there's no general fund associated with that as well.
Right. Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Any further comments? All right, seeing none. Clerk, would you please call the poll? And thank you, Dan.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair,
Aye.
motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will now adjourn as the Development Agency Board and convene as the Water Environmental Services Board of Directors. Gary, what is
Next is the consent agenda for Water Environment Services. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Water Environment Services District Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of an amendment to a contract with Parametrics for bidding and construction observation services to the Three Creeks Floodplain Enhancement Project. Amendment value is $120,693.82. Total contract value is $1,668,865.22. Funding is through Water Environment Services Surface Water Construction Funds. No county general funds are involved. B, approval of an amendment to a contract with Consor North America for final design and engineering services to the Willamette Pump Station and Force Main Sewer Pipe. Amendment value is $2,250,191 for 1 year. Total contract value is $3,424,963 for 3 years. Funding is through Water Environment Services Sanitary Sewer Construction and Systems Development Charge Funds. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Water Environment Services consent agenda.
Yeah, thank you. My fellow directors, do you wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion, please?
I move we approve the West consent agenda.
Second.
All right, Director Helm has moved to approve the West consent agenda. Director Savas has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? I see none. Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Director Schrader,
Aye.
Director Savas,
Aye.
Director Helm,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. I will now adjourn as the Water Environmental Services Board of Directors and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners. Gary.
Next is the item you agreed at the start of this meeting to add to the agenda. It is not on the posted agenda, but you voted today to add it. It is a board discussion item on state transportation legislation. There are fast-acting actions happening in Salem. That's why we've asked to add this topic. Commissioner Savas will lead the discussion. We do have staff in the room if you would like any feedback from staff. Go ahead, please, Commissioner Savas.
Great. First of all, I just want to thank Gary and the staff that are in the room for the discussion we had prior to this meeting to set this up. Essentially, the number of people in the region, most especially in Clackamas County, have concerns about as they've learned with our transportation system, particularly transit, and are asking for the state to convene or have the opportunity to convene a meeting or a work group to work towards solutions for transit services in the region. And so there's a very simple motion, and it'll be included ideally in the language in the package. So we're not asking for money. We're just asking the state to be a convener to have this conversation. So I'm not making the motion this moment, but the motion would read, I think you got a copy of it, that we direct staff to request legislators insert language in the state transportation package to convene a state-led work group to resolve transit concerns in the metro region. There's needs to be an education process so that I think for everyone, because when I talk to some of the mayors and city councilors about this topic, I realize that everyone has a piece of the information, but they don't have all of it. But I think there's a genuine shared concern that Clackamas County's unserved population, which is over 200,000 people, is a challenge, and that we need to resolve it, and we don't see a path towards actually, regardless of funding currently as structured, that we'll ever get to any kind of substantial resolution towards that unserved population. So this would get a conversation started, and that's the request. I'm happy to take any questions.
Any other commissioner comments?
This is not a motion.
I'm going to make a motion.
Oh, you're just
I'm
giving
going to
us
make a
the
motion
update
that you have
first.
before
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, but I
Okay.
just thought that before I made the motion, if there's any questions or dialogue that you'll all like to have.
Commissioner Schrader.
So how is this going to affect the process that's already going on, Paul? What exactly is your purpose with this?
I've been in contact with the Senate President,
Right?
okay, and he asked that we get the language as soon as possible, and
Okay.
so it's perfect timing.
Okay. For that, because my concern is, having been down there at the last, things get really wild and woolly at this point in time. And anything that disrupts an ongoing process or with legislators sometimes can wreak havoc with our opportunities to continue to work with them in ways that are fruitful, I guess is the best way I could say it. But if this is something that the Senate President then has said is a good thing, then I'm assuming that it's been vetted with our delegation and with those folks who are working down there right now.
They haven't seen the exact language, but the concern has been shared. He's also heard from some of the electeds, Lake Oswego and others about this. So, I mean, he's on, we don't have a prescription for what the ultimate fix is, but this is really a conversation starter to make sure the conversation happens.
So this is something that's going to continue beyond this legislative session to inform legislative sessions in the future, that this is really something that needs to be discussed pretty seriously and sooner than later. Is that a good
Yeah, correct.
assessment?
Yeah,
Okay.
the way I would state it is that this work group would be convened after signing day, so there'll be no disruption to the process underway today.
Yeah, because again, having been there, that throws a whole, it's not good juju with the way things work down there. But this sounds like it's going to be a work group that's going to bring it up, so it's going to be legitimately addressed, hopefully in the next legislative session, since it's such a huge issue, what we face here.
Yeah, perhaps. Maybe it can solve itself. I will say that I've been in contact also, not super recently, but with the ODOT director and also with the mayors. And we're also going to have a conversation somewhat tangentially about this at the C4 retreat in July. So that's around the
Okay.
corner.
We're going to be going to that retreat, so we'll talk more about that. But thanks for your work on this.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks for the
it.
help.
Okay, yeah, well.
Thank you.
I'd like to serve.
And I fully support the motion, Commissioner Savas, especially if it brings out some data that will show how unfair and unequitable some of the monies are being distributed throughout the region, and where Clackamas County lands in that. So I think it's a good way to get started on it. I want to see numbers.
Thank you for that. And I do know that there's other jurisdictions in Clackamas County, cities, if you will, are interested in that very same thing.
All right. Any other further comments?
So, yeah, seeing none, Chair, I'll make the motion if you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I move that the board direct staff to request legislators insert language in the state transportation package to convene a state-led work group to resolve transit concerns in the metro region.
Second.
Great. Any further discussion? The only thing I might add, I echo what Commissioner Schrader does, her experience and concern. I think importantly, number one, we want to do what's best for county residents. We want to be good partners with our state leaders and also our regional partners. So I think it's a step in the right direction, making sure that we're all kind of communicating to see what's best. So with that said, if there's no further comments, I'll turn to our clerk, and would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Helm,
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader,
Aye.
Commissioner Savas,
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And Gary, what is next?
Thank you, Commissioners. Next is County Administrator Update. That's me. I like to share the great work of our county employees during my update today. I want to recognize first our staff in transportation and development and our road crews for the work they do. A commuter in the county wrote in this note. Just a day ago, I put in a request to have some road signs cleaned at the corner of Southwest Twilliger and Southwest Midvale that were causing a potential safety hazard. Not only did your staff respond and take care of that in just days, but the crew clearly took the opportunity to clean off a number of other road signs in the neighborhood for good measure. That kind of responsiveness and above the request level does not go unnoticed. Many thanks. Thank you to our road crews in transportation and development for their great work they do, such as that example. Next, Water Environment Services. A customer wrote and praised Water Environment Services Technical Services Specialist, Galen Hoshofsky, who helped a resident with a private stormwater system. That resident wrote, Galen addressed my issue and was very helpful. He was outstanding for customer service skills. Thank you for the excellent customer service. It's really hard to find people who love their jobs these days, and I'm so appreciative of the service. I found out I have to take care of some other issues on my end with my property. They even recommended services to help my solution. Couldn't be happier. Thank you, Galen, and our team at Water Environment Services for their outstanding customer service. I love these stories, and I like to share them with you. So thank you for listening, and thank you to our amazing public servants who serve at Clackamas County as your employees. That is my update today. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Gary. So now is the opportunity for Commissioner comments, and I will start with Commissioner Schrader.
Well, thank you, colleagues. It's been a busy week. I wanted to talk about two things in particular. I have the privilege of serving on the Spirit Mountain Community Fund, the Tribes of the Grand Ronde. And what is that? They are the philanthropic arm of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, and our mission as a body that dispenses both small and large grants is to strengthen and enrich surrounding communities through competitive grants programs. And as I just said, the group, as a group, we do large and small grants. And basically, since its inception, I believe it's given over $90 million to local community nonprofit efforts. And last year, in 2024, we awarded 27 grants valuing over $700,000. So one of the things I like to do is to encourage our nonprofits here in the county to take a look at the Community Fund website. Take a look at what rubric you meet, whether you're a health organization, whether you're a youth organization. See where you can plug into the umbrella of the kinds of grants that we as a group try to dispense to the local communities, because it's another good way, I think, that our nonprofits can continue to get the dollars they need to serve our community. And I always encourage them. I can't guarantee, obviously, I'm part of a whole group, that you're going to be awarded a grant, but I'm encouraging every nonprofit in Clackamas County to take a look at it and look at it as a resource, because I'm glad that I can serve on it and see what I can do for your nonprofits. Occasionally, I can steer some things to some of our local nonprofits, as well as steering dollars to nonprofits throughout our counties, and that includes Multnomah, Lane, our rural counties on the coast, Tillamook, Clatsop, all of those counties in the region. So take a look at that. The other thing that I did this weekend, I had a great fun traveling to Sisters, Oregon, where the weather was great and the food was even better. I have to admit, they have new food courts there, which I, of course, had to sample. And I was there for the Association of Oregon Counties, our group meeting and our retreat meeting. And I usually try to go because I am past president. And one of the things that was really rewarding for me to hear that when I was president, we were undergoing some financial difficulties, and we had to essentially begin the restructuring of our entire finance department, as well as all of our internal controls. And we were in the midst where our dollars were down. We were on the verge of bankruptcy. I had to help pull together a group of our colleagues to do a search for a new executive director. And Gina Nichols is the person who got that job, and basically she has done a fantastic job. This time we got the most thorough, up-to-date, transparent financial, opportunities. Our finances are really absolutely in great shape. They've increased corporate support to the tune of over like $300,000, which is helping our budget quite a bit. And the internal structure for finance is in place where it's clear, it's transparent, we know the numbers to be true, and that it is now, I think, helped professionalize that organization for all of us in all the counties across our state, really, to have a really vibrant organization that is doing a really great job lobbying for us down in Salem. We have our own lobbyists, but they also provide additional opportunities for talking to legislators across the board, not just from our area, but from across the state, which is important. The other thing they did was a refresher in leadership training, which for me was a really good thing, because it was a refresher course, because I've had multiple leadership trainings. But the thing I brought away from this is that a sense of leadership, when in order to be a good leader, you have to know when to be on the balcony, and be on the dance floor. Because a lot of what our job is observing and getting a larger perspective before we make a decision, so then we can join the dance floor. It's a really nice way of putting it, and help influence and guide, the decisions that we have to make. And it is kind of an art, because it's also about timing. And the other role we have as leaders is that when things get heated, our job is to cool the temperature. And so that's one of the reasons why you have to take time and perspective to understand the nuances of what are going on that balcony, who's doing what, where, when, and how, and then join the dance to help appropriately influence outcomes that are good for all of our constituents. So that was I wish you all could have been there. It was really very fruitful, and I always leave energized because of all the friendships I have there with folks I've known through the years. And again, I'm so impressed with Gina Nichols and the staff there, and how they have really, the Association of Oregon Counties is really respected as an organization that is totally professionalized and does good things for all of us. So that's all I got for today. There's probably more, but I'm talking too much, so there we go.
All right, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to just thank the chair and the board and staff for that small little motion we just made. I have been in a very difficult, untenable situation for dating back to last year on the package, and I know that we've only just touched on just one little tiny piece of this, but I am hoping we're probably not going to be able to do anything meaningful, but maybe we will. If the package does drop tomorrow or next week, we'll have a conversation before us on what elements we have issues with, or what elements we support or not. I don't know. But I think that at the very least, Chair, I would advocate that we be prepared to have some kind of a work session, at least get briefed by staff what's in there. There'll be, apparently I'm told, there'll be 3 scheduled, and is tentative right now for maybe even as early as next week, opportunities to testify on 3 different elements. One is the major, I think one's essentially the major projects, if you will. The other one is on transit, and the other one is the overall O&M maintenance element of it. I think that'll be the gist of the hearings. I'm also told that if there's a lot of people signed up, or they anticipate a lot of people, that maybe every jurisdiction will only be able to speak at one of, and perhaps not all. That hasn't been determined for certain, but I guess we'll have to pick. And I will be signing up, for at least a very minimum priority on the transit one, just to express some of the challenges we have in the county about the 200,000 people that are unserved and so on, and not being anything more specific than that, perhaps. But just want to let you know, there's opportunities. If we all have an opportunity to speak, or we can speak on each night of testimony, I would just encourage you, if you have any strong feelings or thoughts. We got, as part of the board's priorities, we have 2 major projects on that list, and number 1 is the I-205 project, and the other one is the Sunrise project. And hopefully there'll be some opportunities for funding for each to get things underway. I don't think there's enough funding to complete any of those projects, but certainly to keep momentum going on both of them, I hope. So a lot more behind that, but I'll just cut my comment short today and yield back, Chair.
And thank you. And Commissioner Hill.
I was thrown into the deep end last week, so during the budget process, but this is my first real week in the office, and I'm getting up to speed with all the department heads, with all the briefings. I am privileged and honored to be sitting here and serving with you and serving the citizens of Clackamas County, and I was pleased to hear the positive feedback from citizens on the work that our service providers do. It's really easy to write nasty notes and things to complain about. It's rare, actually, to get all the good ones. So I'm happy to hear that, because I think that's our job, is to serve and make sure our customer service is exceptional. So I've got lots to learn, so moving forward.
All right, thank you. I just want to follow up with just commending and welcoming again Commissioner Helm. I can attest, she is in here bright and early. She's got constant meetings going, and she brings a very unique perspective to the board. I think her business experience, and it's likewise, it's an honor to work with you and learn from your experiences. So, and many roles that you've done. So, thank you. Just also want to recognize Gary and staff. We do this on a regular basis in employee recognition for anywhere from 5 years to, we had 30. Dan Johnson just actually had 32 years of service. So it's always refreshing to hear the employees, how long they've been here, some of their hobbies outside, and a good way that we can thank these employees for their incredible work. And I could just tell you by hearing them talk, they love their jobs, they really value the work they do, and it means a lot to all of us. So I want to say thank you for doing that, Gary. And kind of following up on citizen participation, as we all know, we had the budget last week, and I think it's, we just have to remember that we have so many volunteers that donate their time. So while we had 5 commissioners, we had 5 public members that donated an incredible amount of time. It's not just the budget meeting, it's the preparation up to it. And so it's a pretty huge commitment. So I think thanking all those volunteers and really looking beyond the volunteers just for the budget committee. We have 50 advisory boards, which was news to me as I kind of looked at this. And there are a whole array of topics. And so I just want to encourage people that if they're looking for opportunities to give back to the community, I encourage them to look at volunteering opportunities. And you can go to our website. It's titled Get Involved on our homepage. So I encourage folks to check that out. And the last thing, as I saw the weather coming up and brought back a little trauma from 2020, we got some really hot days coming up. And I can't emphasize enough about preparedness. And what we have is, again, I'm hearing a lot of drought conditions already early this year. So I want the public to know the county has started a social media campaign to raise awareness about how to prepare for natural disasters such as a wildfire. So I'd encourage you to follow Clackamas County on social media along with the local fire districts for some of the latest information about preparedness and emergencies. And by visiting clackamas.us/DM/CLACK, C-L-A-C-K, GO, prepared. Simply put, if you go to Clackamas County Disaster Management, it's easier to find. And they have evacuation maps, some checklists that you should do, and the important thing is real-time wildfire alerts. That's one of the most important things on there. So, and some easy guides to be prepared. So just, again, want to give accolades to disaster management and helping make people aware. So on behalf of that, if there's nothing else from my colleagues, then we will adjourn this business meeting. Thank you.